Chairperson, dear friends, I would like to thank SGI for giving this opportunity, and I'm going to talk EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage, how I do it. I'm going to discuss EUS guided pancreatic drainage in various steps, indication, instrumentation, procedure, tips of the technique, limitation, and the future prospects. EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage indication and technique is similar to the biliary intervention with some variation. The caveat is the pancreatic duct drainage is difficult because of the less experience. Even in the best of the center, we are getting 3 to 4 cases in a year. More challenging, the firmness of the pancreatic parenchyma made difficult the manipulation of the accessories, less favorable orientation of the pancreatic duct from the stomach, and lack of dedicated accessories in the stent. I would like to stress upon at this point, before embarking the patient for the EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage, it is always assess the patient for surgical candidacy if your ERCP failed. Once you are sure that this patient requires EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage after a failed ERCP, and by ruling out contraindication, I'm going to discuss step by step the indications. I'm going to discuss step by step the procedural detail. Before starting the procedure, it is important you should have a checklist. You should know about instrumentation and preparation of patient. You should have therapeutic linear echoendoscope. CO2 insufflation is important. Electrosurgical unit and various accessories in the form of 19G or 22G needle, guide wire, especially the hydrophilic with the angle tip, cautery or non-cautery dilators, balloons, and plastic or the metal stent which we are planning to place. The prerequisite before starting the procedure, we should have a cross-sectional imaging to get the roadmap. In my practice, if patient has a failed ERCP, I try to repeat after a few days, or patient should be sent to an expert ERCP guy who can drive the pancreatic duct drainage. You should always have a backup plan, because if EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage fail, then you should know that what should be done, what should be the plan B or C. Before starting the procedure step should be discussed with the technician in detail. He should be discussed about various accessories which is needed. Patient should be given prior antibiotics, keep nail by mouth at least for 6 hours, a good sedation, and rectal indomethacin suppository before starting the procedure to prevent the complication in the form of pancreatitis. There are various methods of EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage, that is anatomical and the non-anatomical. The anatomical is rendezvous transpapillary or antegrade transpapillary. It can be the non-anatomical, that is transmural, transgastric, or the transduodenal, that is called as pancreaticogastroscopy or pancreaticobalbostomy. These are the various steps which I am going to discuss one by one during my talk. First important step is position of your echoendoscope. Your echoendoscope should be in the stable position, in the short loop position, and there should be a very minimal distance between the stomach and the pancreatic duct. A less of pancreatic parenchyma should be there. You should position your scope in such a way that if you are planning for the rendezvous technique, then your puncture site should be in the neck of the pancreas, and if you are planning for the transmural drainage, then it is better you can puncture from the distal body or from the tail of the pancreas, and your scope should be directed towards the head of the pancreas. That is very important under fluoroscopic guidance. One important thing, scope should always be parallel to the pancreatic duct rather than perpendicular, because if your scope is in the perpendicular direction, the manipulation of the wire will be difficult, shearing of the wire is possible. So your echoendoscope, while puncturing, it should be parallel or at 30-degree angle to the pancreatic duct. That is important, and you should remember that. If you are doing the pancreaticobalbostomy, your scope will be in the long loop position, that give a stable position, secured position, and it should be from the second part of the duodenum. Once you have find out the position from where you are going to puncture. The next step is puncture with the 19G needle or 22G needle. If the pancreatic duct diameter is more than 4 to 5 millimeter, then I prefer the 19G needle. If the pancreatic duct is less than 4 millimeter, then I prefer to use the 22G needle. It is important when you do the puncture with the needle, it is important that your needle should be flushed with the saline or with the contrast. Before puncturing, apply the Doppler and find out your trajectory through which you are going to puncture. As I said, pancreatic parenchyma is fibrotic. It might take multiple attempts to go into the pancreatic duct. So choose your trajectory in that way and use the jab movement. That is very important. A jabbing movement, and sometimes while doing the jab movement, you may go across the opposite side of the pancreatic duct and then you can pull back. So the jab movement is very important. If you have gone through the pancreatic duct, you can pull back your needle and you can come back to the pancreatic duct. So few important points: apply the Doppler, flush the needle with the saline or with the contrast agent, choose the proper trajectory through which you are going to puncture, use the jab movement, and depending upon the pancreatic duct size, you can choose the size of the needle. Once you are inside the needle, as in the bile duct drainage, we generally aspirate the bile. But here, as the pancreatic duct is small in diameter, I always suggest use a very small amount of contrast to ensure that you are in the pancreatic duct. Slowly inject the contrast, and at this point, the contrast should be 1:1 dilution, otherwise it will be thick, and sometimes it is difficult to go through the pancreatic duct. Don't over-inject the contrast, don't increase the intraductal pressure. And once you are inside the duct, you have taken the pancreatogram, then flush the needle with the saline so your wire can manipulate. So once you have taken the pancreatogram, you know what is your scope position, where the pancreatic duct is going. The next step is wire insertion. I think this is very important, and here is the role of technician comes. So choosing the right wire is very important. My preference of wire is 0.025 VisiGlide because it gives the strength of 0.035. Along with the angle tip, you can rotate your wire and go into the desired. If the wire is straight, then it can go into the side branches and it can perforate the pancreatic parenchyma. Tell your technician he should manipulate the wire very slowly, because if the wire goes into the different direction and you want to withdraw the wire, in that case, there is a possibility you may shear the wire and the part of the wire will remain in the pancreatic duct and you have to repeat the procedure. If you are using the Rendezvous technique or antegrade technique, try pass the wire into the duodenum deep, and if you are using the transmural, keep the wire deep and in the stable position. After securing the wire, even many of the time you are not able to go into the duodenum. So what I do in my practice, after that I dilate the tract, either with the cautery device, that is the cystotome or needle knife. I would like to say, please avoid needle knife because it is not coaxial. In my practice, I always use the cystotome with a pure cutting current, or you can dilate the tract with a non-cautery device, that is taper tip or screw tip cannula. The tract dilatation, as I said, should be done with the cautery device, and I use the cystotome using the pure cutting current. And once my cystotome is inside the pancreatic duct, then wire manipulation will be very easy, and you can manipulate the wire and you can reach the desired duct. So in the first go, if you are not able to go deep, then you can exchange the needle and use the cystotome, and once your cystotome is inside the duct, then you can manipulate the wire in your desired duct. Cautery device, cystotome, I've already told you, is the preferable. Avoid needle knife. So here I am using the cystotome over the wire using the pure cutting current, and I went into the pancreatic duct. As I said, the pancreatic duct tract dilatation can be done with a non-cautery device, that is a taper tip cannula. But in clinical practice, it is very difficult using the taper cannula or the pancreatic dilator. It requires a lot of force and it requires a lot of manipulation. Chances of mismanipulation of the wire will be very high. Once you have done with the 6-French cystotome, the next step is dilatation with the hurricane balloon. In my practice, I use the 4 millimeter, but in literature, people have used 6 or 8 or 10 millimeter. but I prefer to use 6 millimeter balloon, 4 millimeter balloon, because the risk of pancreatic duct leak will be less. Then the last step is insertion of the pancreatic stent. You can use plastic stent or the fully covered metal stent, but in my practice, I always use the plastic stent, either single pigtail or double pigtail. Avoid straight stent. Most important thing is stent should not be pancreatic because they have a side holes. The chances of the pancreatic fluid leakage is high. So always end hole stent, either single pigtail or double pigtail is the better. In rendezvous technique, once my wire is deep into the duodenum, I change my scope to the duodenoscope, hold the wire, dilate the papilla or do the pancreatic papillotomy. Following that, we put the plastic stent and that completed the procedure. This is one of the video where the wire came out from the pancreatic orifice, hold it with the snares, take it out, and over that we dilate with the pancreatic dilator followed by the plastic stent placement. In transmural, which is technically difficult, what you do is keep the wire into the stable position. After dilatation with the cystotome and with the hurricane, you use the single pigtail end hole stent under endoscopic view. Along with the fluoroscopic view, you place it. The most challenging portion comes because these pancreatic stent needs to be removed after 2 to 3 months. Then going again back is a challenge. If you are doing the pancreatico-bulbostomy, then your scope will be in the long loop position into the second part of the duodenum. Again, the steps are same. You puncture, take pancreatogram, insert the wire, and followed that, you dilate the tract, and after dilatation, you put the plastic or the metal stent. As I told you, in pancreaticogastroscopy, the challenge is when the stent you want to change is after 2 months. What I have seen in my initial beginning of my career, I removed the plastic stent and it was difficult for me to renegotiate into the pancreatic duct. So what I am doing now, alongside the stent, by taking the taper cannula, I take my cannula deep into the pancreatic duct, take pancreatogram to ensure that in the pancreatic duct, dilate the tract and put another plastic stent. So you can keep 1 or 2 stents. Otherwise, if you remove the pancreatic stent and try to recannulate, you will have a multiple angle between the scope and the pancreatic duct, and chances that you may not be able to go into the pancreatic duct. There are various complications in the form of bleeding, which needs to be avoided by using the check Doppler. Cautery dilatation has a high chances of bleeding, and larger balloon has a high chances of bleeding, then try to avoid it. Perforation is possible. Wire slip out after the successful dilatation. Stent can migrate either into the pancreatic duct, so it is always important you should use an endoscopic view, or if the stent is too short, then it can migrate in or it can migrate out. Pancreatic duct leakage is possible, so avoid the too much of dilatation. And if you are failed after successful dilatation, then make sure that you should keep your wire and accessory inside the pancreatic duct. Pancreatitis is possible, but in my practice, out of 20 to 25 cases which I have done, pancreatitis has not been seen. Pancreatic fluid collection has been observed. Pancreatitis, because chronic pancreatitis, the parenchyma is fibrotic, the severe pancreatitis is less. But yes, you should give rectal indomethacin suppository and hydrate the patient well. This is one of the case where I did the rendezvous technique because patient has a cyst, lot of edema into the pancreatic duct, patient has ongoing pain. After applying the Doppler and choosing the right position, keeping the scope in the stable position, puncture with the 19G needle, pancreatogram was taken. And after pancreatogram, you can see the cyst was filling in the head of the pancreas. Wire was secured deep into the duodenum. The tract was dilated. The tract was not dilated, sorry. And the wire was held with the slim scope. And alongside the wire, I used the pancreatic dilator to dilate the stricture. And following that, a 7th branch stent was placed. So I think this is a more preferable route. Technically, it is challenging and difficult in comparison to pancreaticogastroscopy, but it is always better to do this route. So the preferred method is rendezvous technique, pancreatico-bulbostomy if the MPD stenosis is in the head of the pancreas, Pancreatic gastrostomy is the most difficult, should be tried always in the altered anatomy if patient has gone for the Whipples. So ladies and gentlemen, to summarize, it is important you should have a roadmap in the form of MRCP. You should have a good fluoroscopy because sometimes you may require a thin wire. The good fluoroscopy is required to visibility of the wire. Move with the plan of action and fallback option. Plan B and plan C should be ready. Patient can be kept in the supine or prone position, but avoid lateral because fluoroscopically it is difficult to understand. Select the best site of entry. Sharp jab with the 19G needle or 22G needle. Even you overshoot, then you can withdraw the needle. Contrast should be diluted with the 1:1 or 1:2. Hydrophilic angle tip wire is preferable because it helps in manipulation of wire better, but avoid exchange of the wire because otherwise you'll end up into the shear of the wire. Wire manipulation, watch out for the shear. It is better to manipulate the wire with the once you have achieved with the cystotome inside the pancreatic duct. Negotiate across the papilla or PG anastomosis. Keep good length of the wire inside the pancreatic duct or coil the wire. Exchange swift and cautious, minimum cross-talking in the room because you require a thorough concentration while doing the procedure. Coaxial 6 French cystotome over the wire. Avoid needle knife. Stiff stent, single pigtail, straight or double pigtail. My choice is single pigtail or the double pigtail. So, are we ready for the pancreatic duct drainage in 2021? In my feeling, it is technically most demanding and associated with the complication in significant number of the patient. In literature, the success rate is up to the tune of 78% with the complication up to 21%. So I think it should only be tried by an expert person. And first make sure that this patient require EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage. If a chronic pancreatitis patient where ERCP fails and he is a surgical candidate, I will prefer to subject the patient for surgery rather than venturing for the EUS guided pancreatic duct drainage. Thank you for the patience hearing.